Well, thank you, Jonathan, for joining us today. You are a candidate for Lenoir County School Board at Large. Tell us a little about yourself and why you're running for this seat.
Sure. Yeah, Jonathan Britt. Been living in Lenoir County for 20 plus years with my wife, Stacy. Married for 21 years, and we have two children, Kayla and Nathan. Kayla's 17, Nathan's 12.
Kayla's she's in high school at North Lenoir, cheerleader.
Senior at North Lenoir, cheerleader in the drama club. DYW a couple weeks ago, so
Right.
anything she can stay busy with. Plus, she's working now,
Right.
which is something we're very proud of. Our family is heavily involved at the Way Church on Lynn Drive. I'm the chairman of the finance team and the elder, and lead the praise and worship group.
So why does someone you got a background in financial planning and analysis manager with Greenville Utilities? Why did you decide to run for school board? In fact, this isn't your first time either.
That's right. Well, the 2023 North Carolina DPI scorecards came out for schools, and right now 12 of 16 of our schools are classified as low performing. That is a major concern, and it's frustrating because it was predicted. And the parents have been notified about that, but it's not very, very public. I think the chairman, Mr. Hill, will mention that we have 11 schools that met or exceeded growth expectations, but we have 12 that are DNF schools.
And what does DNF mean?
That's just a performance level of the schools. And we don't have to be in this situation. If you look at the surrounding counties, there are 5 of them that we share a border with. We have the highest percentage at 75%. So if we track back to 2020 during COVID, I think you can relate the decisions of the current board to stay closed longer than surrounding counties, to being a source of the issues we're facing now. At the time, in the spring of 2020 when they closed, I think people understood that because we didn't know exactly what we're dealing with. And we worked through the summer, monitored data to see how big of an issue we're dealing with. And the superintendent put together a plan to go back hybrid, give parents the choice to be in person or remote, and presented that to the board. And for whatever reason, they decided to go full remote.
So you think that decision there is having ripple effects in the education system here in Lenoir County today?
You got it. We stayed closed, by my count, 198 days. A lot of us showed up to board meetings and commented to say kids need the choice, or parents need the choice to send their kids back in person, and that would have devastating consequences. That academic rigor of handing a kid an iPad and saying, here's your school, is not the same as face-to-face with a teacher. And the behavioral interactions or abilities to get along with other kids went away. It was a time period that it was not putting children first. I saw Mr. Smith sign on the way in, put children first. He put children in isolation, and it did a lot of damage. And when we're commenting, not only commenting, but submitting emails, calls to the board members, asking them to have a discussion with us, because I and a lot of other parents were very interested in the information they were looking at to drive their decisions. And what really frustrated us was that we were not getting responses.
And so you're saying this has been part of your driving force, that the two at-large seats, the members that are there, the incumbents that are there, that are running for re-election, that their decisions is a big part of the reason why you want to run today. If you got on the school board, what are some changes you'd like to see done?
Sure. The school board has to be an advocate for the schools. And right now, I feel our two opponents that are in there now, along with a couple of others, isolate themselves from the parents and the teachers, principals, And that's kind of a we get better decisions if we only talk to ourselves type approach. And I think the community has had enough of that. They want parents on the school board. Right now we have one member who has kids in the school at all. I think that's a major concern for what decisions we'll get moving forward.
So do you think that as a parent on the school board, you would be in a position to make better decisions? Is that what you're saying?
Well, our decisions are going to impact our households. Of course, I have 2 students, but my wife also teaches special education at North Lenoir. So we're going to live with the consequences, and making decisions are going to be well measured and well thought out. And I will openly have discussions with other stakeholders.
Do you think there's an issue with transparency with the school system or the school board as it relates to the parents or maybe even the teachers or the students themselves?
There are policies in place that tells the schools there's certain information they have to share. But in the case with COVID, when we were asking for the information they were using to drive their decisions and not getting responses, that is not transparent at all.
From the administration or from the school board?
From the school board.
Okay.
I had parents, of course, contacting me asking, can you help set up meetings? Teachers were contacting me saying, we need our kids in front of us to be able to teach them. Of course, the administration recommended the option to go back, but the board would not discuss any of those items with us.
I'll switch gears just for a second and think about something that's been in the news. I know we've had the Western NC flooding. That's been a major issue for our state. But just before that, there was, and it's been several this year, school shootings. What is your take on public safety as it matters with school safety and the safety of our educators, administrators, and our students?
Absolutely at the top of the concerns list. And we need to do everything we can, of course, to keep our students safe. I see a good relationship right now with the schools and the sheriff's department, having resource officers in the schools. We recently visited each school just kind of as a meet and greet, well wishes type interaction. We have to buzz in to get to each school now. I think that's good. I know over the last couple of years, Pitt County installed metal detectors at their entrances. I think there would be value to that just as an added precaution. Of course, if you're going to get metal detectors you've been to sporting events, if you have them there, they need to be plugged in to be effective. But outside of that, safety for me in my career, working with the utility is of extreme importance. And so it's not just the school shooter situation, it's the facilities. How safe are they? Make everybody an observer of safety issues and have a reporting mechanism for getting those in and prioritized and addressed as quickly as possible.
One thing that I've seen maybe through Q&A, or I know you've been to a couple other community forums, I know you've talked about was reducing the administrative burdens on teachers. Give us a little bit of what your thoughts are on that. What are some examples or what you'd like to do to fix that?
One thing that's surprising as you talk to teachers, especially those who are considering leaving the field, which I think is an issue, is that they get into teaching without fully understanding the job of the teacher. And that really is embedded in the amount of administrative burden, tracking student performance, reporting, lesson plans, reporting your lesson plans. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you don't see when you're a student. Theoretically, as a student, you would understand more about the teaching career going into it than any other career that you would have been exposed to at that point.
Right.
But a lot of teachers are shocked when they get there. So how do we gain efficiencies in really maximizing their availability to be in front of the kids teaching? And I think that's going to be sown with either support staff that's paid, but also the volunteer community. Now, I think the board plays a role in that, in saying we need help. And of course, it starts at home. So here we come back to parent engagement again. The parent has to understand the support the child needs, because when he gets to school, he has to understand how critical his education is.
Well, tell me, think about bridging the gap between your professional career and, what you'd like to do is serve on the school board for the next 4 years. How do you think that your career and your role as a financial planning analysis manager prepares you for a role on the school board?
Right. The Board of Education is really the, let's say, legislative and judicial arm of the schools. So they have general control and supervision of all matters for the schools, and that includes the budget, and it includes the capital planning. And that's exactly what I do for Greenview Utilities. My group really is a bridge between our finance and accounting department and the operating departments. So what are the needs in the utility? There are 9 departments we work with, and we build that budget each year, and right now it hovers around $300 million a year. The capital side, we work with the departments on facility needs, water, sewer, electric, and gas projects. Over 5 to 10 years now are in the $360 million range. My group decides, okay, how much money do we need to get, and when do we get it?
Right.
What's the funding source for each project? So the Board of Education works with the county on facility needs. Now, for the county to really get behind what the school is going to require, they have to know what the plans are. What are your priorities? And that's something I really believe that it's a skill I've developed offline from the schools, but it'll be invaluable as a board member.
Right. One thing I'm curious about, and I've tried to ask some, I've forgotten to ask the others, about the future of AI. I mean, it's already here, so it's like it's not some foreign thing, but in terms of implementation and policy around it, what do you see as the future of AI in education?
It will hopefully help the teachers in facilitating classroom study. Part of my concern with education of youth is that we have gone probably overboard with electronic learning. I think there's high value in textbook learning and writing skills. The number one complaint I've got from restaurant owners around town is that they have applicants come in, but they can't fill out the application. But AI is definitely coming. It will gain some efficiencies in materials prep. On the utility side, I think we've worked hard to go green energy stuff, wind, solar, batteries, and we've been replacing good capacity, but we should have just been adding all the capacity we can get, because the energy demand of AI is going to be off the charts.
Right.
So there's no avoiding that. But again, I go back to kids need to read, write, and be able to do math outside of just having AI do it for you. So I think we have to be careful. And then the ability to discern factual information versus, I guess, differently messaged information that's not useful to their
learning. It seems like it's going to be a challenge, but also like an incredible tool like the calculator is to us, or even the computer or an iPad is to us today. I am curious myself to see where it goes in terms of education policy. As we come to a close, Jonathan, is there anything you want the voters to know about you, or anything else that, as we think about early voting and Tuesday, November 5th on Election Day, you've got four candidates for 2 seats, 2 incumbents running. This is your second time running. Another parent is running. Give us kind of a closing argument as to why people should vote for you.
I believe that we have an opportunity to change the culture of leadership that the board has developed. Kids get invited to board meetings to get recognized for awards, which is good. But on their way in, they have to walk by some of the board members' cars parked at the best spots. To me, that's a board member first attitude. in the forums I've been in, you'll hear the chairman tout more than 2,000 hours of professional development that he's gained since being a board member. Well, 12 of 16, or 75% of our schools are low performing. Mm-hmm. People don't care about what the board member has gained in his time of service on the board when our schools are failing. I've been a big advocate of parent involvement since 2020. We did get a good law that was enacted last December, Parents' Bill of Rights. It was at North Carolina Senate Bill 49, I believe. It provides some protections for parents who want to be engaged with the school system. I believe that law was in part inspired by some of the way our board and others across the state acted during COVID and took away parents' rights. So I'll be that advocate. But like you said, there are 2 seats on the board. There are currently 2 board members that I feel are pretty well in line with my principles and who I feel like will be very supportive moving forward of the approach that I'm proposing. But with me and those 2, we're still a minority. Now, Shannan Harrison is running as well for a second at-large seat, and I think she is like-minded. So to vote for me is as important to vote for her too, to get us both on there. And suddenly the whole dynamic of the board changes. And I think the superintendent, who is excellent, suddenly gets the support that he's been lacking over the last 4 years. And I think we can turn the ship around.
Okay. Well, thank you on behalf of the citizens of the county for putting your name in the hat to run. It's not easy, and it's a lot of work.
Sure.
And I really appreciate not only your willingness to run, but also for being here today with us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yes, sir.